Okay, so this is Deacon Destruction Mode. Uh, he's a member of the Sakari. Matter of fact, second in command underneath Al-Azhar. And the question was, he's on live right now. The Israelites, we want smoke. And a question was asked of him dealing with adultery. So let's listen in.
There was I believe, a class that you did, Deacon, where there was a question about a man, and he said his wife was talking to another man. Could you expound on, like, I believe it was something that you said along of she would be breaking the spirit of the law, but if she doesn't go forward with it, is not really breaking the commandments. Could you expound on that for me?
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, basically, the spirit of the law is like where you don't actually commit the act. The act adultery is you sleeping with another man's wife. Now, you could be entertaining a thought, you could be thinking about it, you could be flirting. You're in the spirit of adultery, but you didn't actually commit the adultery. You get what I'm saying?
I hear that. So, because I know there's a law in the scripture that states if the woman is promised to the man and another man sleeps with her, that would be considered adultery too, correct?
Yes.
I have a question. Was courting a custom back then in Israel?
Okay, so you heard what he said about if a man looks at another man's woman and has lustful desires for her, even though he didn't do the actual act, he hasn't commit adultery. Okay, because he didn't do the actual act. Let's say that again. Let me bring it back, because Yahawashi said different. Let's bring it back right around here.
Where you don't actually commit the act.
Okay, let's bring it back another 10 seconds.
Yeah, so like basically the spirit of
So this is Deacon's reply.
the law is like where you don't actually commit the act. The act adultery is you sleeping with another man's wife. Now, you could be entertaining a thought, you could be thinking about it, you could be
which is wicked. Which is wicked. Now he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that that's wicked. He said that you could be thinking about it and entertaining the thought, but if you didn't do the actual act, you didn't commit adultery. Well, we're going to see what Yahawashi said.
Flirting. You're in the spirit of adultery.
You're not supposed to even be talking to another man's wife. I don't know where he came up with flirting. In the Apocrypha, it says, sit not at all with another man's wife. Let me get that real quick. Sit not at all. There we go. Now, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 9:9, also known as Sirach. Okay, so let me go to it right here. The book of Ecclesiasticus 9:9, also known as Sirach. It says this. Now, this is what you're supposed to do. If you happen to catch yourself looking at another man's wife, this is what you're supposed to do. Ecclesiasticus 9:8, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman and look not upon another's beauty. Another's beauty meaning another man's woman. Okay? You know within the spirit that that woman is with that man. You're not even supposed to be checking her out. As the scripture have said, you turn your eye away because you know those two are an item, especially if they're walking hand in hand. You can tell they all lovey-dovey. Shouldn't be checking out another man's woman. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman and look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. Sit not, and you certainly not supposed to be flirting with her. Okay, you look to another man's woman, you ain't got nothing to say to her. I mean absolutely nothing, okay? It says, sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. Okay? So let's go back and listen to that again. All right, bear with me for a minute.
Worshipped heavily by a demonic religion.
We're going to have to...
Right. So, like, when they...
We're going to have to try to
if
bring
you
it back.
ask a Christian, right, they will say that...
No, it's anywhere until you answer the question.
Yeah. No, it doesn't say that. Wait.
Let's buy you some more time.
Hiram's mother is from the tribe of, and then posted on your channel. Well, guess what?
Clowns.
Okay, let's get this brother Azar. What's going on, brother? Azar, you're live.
Hello? Say, I believe a class that you did, Deacon, where there was a question about a man, and he said his wife was talking to another man. Could you expound on, like, I believe it was something that you said along of she would be breaking the spirit of the law, but if she doesn't go forward with it, is not really breaking the commandments. Could you expound on that for me?
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, basically, the spirit of the law is like where you don't actually commit the act. The act adultery is you sleeping with another man's wife.
Now, there's a thing called adultery with her in your heart, and Yahawashi spoke about that. But let's listen some more.
Now, you could be entertaining a thought. You could be thinking about it. You could be, flirting.
And if you do that, you have committed adultery with her in your heart, meaning in your mind, even if you didn't do the actual act. And this is what Yahawashi said.
You're in the spirit of adultery, but you didn't actually commit the adultery. You get what I'm saying?
You're in the spirit of adultery, but you didn't actually commit the adultery? Well, that ain't what Yahawashi said. Now let's go to what Yahawashi said. Matthew 5:28. Now look at the subheading here. Teaching about adultery. So let's first read the KJV, Matthew 5:27. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. And that is the law, right? Now, this is what Yahawashi said. But I say, who's this speaking, by the way? Yahawashi. Clearly, these words are written in red. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, have committed adultery with her already in his heart, in his mind. So Yahawashi modified that law. Yahawashi went as far as to say, if you look at a woman and you know that woman belongs to another man and you checking her out, like you heard Deacon said, you checking her out and you looking her up and down and you contemplating, you thinking about it, you already envision you with the woman, carnal lust between the both of you, you already committed adultery act with her in your heart. You already committed adultery with her in your heart. Okay? That's what Yahawashi said. Let's read that in the NLT. It says, you have heard the commandment that says you must not commit adultery. But I say anyone who even looks at a woman with lust that is a woman that is joined to a man. Okay, now if the woman's not joined to a man, then you can look at a woman and desire her. What you would do is ask her if she's joined to any man, if she's married, does she have a boyfriend, or if you ask a woman, does she have a boyfriend, she tells you, yeah, I have a boyfriend, immediately the conversation is cut off. Immediately. And especially if she's walking with a man, you don't even check out. You don't look at her. You turn your, like the scripture I read to you, the previous scripture, you turn your eye away. Because we're trying to keep ourselves pure in the sight of Yahawashi. As much as possible, we're even trying to keep our thoughts pure. There's a scripture where it says a foolish thought is sin with Yahawashi. So even the thought of entertaining another man's wife would be a sin in the sight of Yahawashi. Okay? So again, Matthew 5:28 in the NLT, but I say anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Okay? Now that ain't what Deacon Hakar said.
I hear that. So,
and then the other guy who asked the question, he just accepted it. So obviously the other guy who asked the question to Deacon, obviously he's not familiar with Matthew 5:28. Matthew 5:27 and 28. And the scripture that I read in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 9:9. Those two scriptures. Once again, shows you these guys they're not qualified to teach. Okay, they are not qualified to teach correctly, that is.
I know there's a law in the scripture that states if the woman is promised to the man and another man sleeps with her, that would be considered adultery too, correct?
Yes.
But Yahawashi even went one further. He said if that man even looks at her, that's promised to another man, looks at her with the intent within his heart, within his mind of sleeping with her, of having carnal lust with her, he has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Now that's what Deacon Nakar should have brought out.
I have a question. Was courting a custom?
I'm going to fast forward.
Back then, is there a scripture?
Yeah, it's the same as, so if the father's involved when a woman's a virgin, right? But that's still a courtship. Now, if she's not a virgin, then you guys are still in the courting type of phase, but her father's not involved because she's not a virgin.
Okay, so
yeah.
Right, so that commandment of even if she's promised, even if they haven't been married yet, though she's promised and you go ahead and sleep with that brother's wife, it's considered adultery. Though,
yes, if you made a deal with the father, if you made a deal with the father,
mm-hmm.
a woman that's a virgin, she's promised, there was an exchange made, that is a transaction. So therefore, if you sleep with that woman, it would be considered adultery.
So are you saying that?
But even if you look at the woman with lust in your heart, like Yahawashi said, that you have already committed adultery with her, because this woman is promised to another man, you already committed adultery with her in your heart. Okay, so I'm still waiting for this guy here, Deacon Hakar, to go into the scripture, Matthew 5:27 and 28. So that's why I'm allowing it to keep playing to see if he's going to go into it.
If a woman courts with another, if a married woman courts with another man, but she's not sleeping with the man, but if she's just courting with that man, are you saying that that's lawful?
How can a married woman court another man? She's in the spirit of adultery.
Right. Okay.
Somebody block unbiased.
But he said, this guy's talk about double talk. He said, okay, he just said she's in the spirit of adultery, but he just said at the very beginning she did that. If they didn't do the actual act, that adultery was not committed. I know that's what he just said. Okay. Talk about double talk, man. Let me bring this back. Let me see if I can bring this back. Let's go. Now you just heard what he said, the latter part. Let's just go back here.
The adultery is basically the spirit of the law is like where you don't actually commit the act.
Oh,
the act
I think
It is not really breaking the commandments. Could you expound on that for me?
Yeah, so like basically the spirit of the law is like where you don't actually commit the act. Adultery is you sleeping with another man's wife. Now, you could be entertaining a thought, you could be thinking about it, you could be flirting. You're in the spirit of adultery, but you didn't actually commit the adultery. You get what I'm saying?
You're in the spirit of adultery, but you didn't actually commit the adultery. And then fast forward, he says, now you heard what he said there. Now let's go fast forward. Let me see if I can find it. I hope I can find it. Okay.
Brother's wife is considered adultery, though,
yes, if you made a deal with the father, if you made a deal with the father with that woman, it would be considered adultery.
So are you saying that if a woman courts with another, if a married woman courts with another man, but she's not sleeping with the man, but if she's just courting with that man, are you saying that that's lawful?
Which is clearly wicked. And, the scripture that I brought out, Sirach 9:9 says, not sit not at all with another man's wife. So there shouldn't be no courting, there shouldn't be no flirting. There shouldn't be no vocal exchange between a man and another man's wife. Okay?
How can a married woman court another man? She's in the spirit of adultery.
But earlier he said, even if she's in the spirit of adultery, if she doesn't do the actual act, she hasn't committed adultery. This guy is double-tongued, man. But again, you be the judge on the comment board, okay? You be the judge. Is maybe it's me. He sounds like he's double talking, okay? And what he should have did was go to the book of Matthew 5:27 and 28. That would have been a much better answer. As you just saw, he didn't even cite the scripture. Matthew 5:27, 28. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 9:9. Okay? So on to the next one.